This is NBC Palm Springs. Breaking news.
Crews are attacking the Apple fire by air with tankers dropping fire retardant and helicopters dropping water. Ground crews hacking away at the brush, trying to guide the fire to burn off brush. It hasn't been burned in decades. A tough fight as we enter day 5 of the Apple fire. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Gino Lamont.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. We have a lot of information to get to as we're seeing more smoke in the valley and ash.
The Apple fire has now burned more than 26,850 acres, but it is 15% contained tonight, up 10% from yesterday. An evacuation center has been set up at Beaumont High School, and the San Gorgonio Wilderness area is closed to all use, including the hiking trails. The fire has destroyed at least 4 homes and 8 smaller structures. Fire officials report 1 minor injury of a firefighter. Some
evacuation orders have been lifted in Riverside County, just some of them. You can see those on your screen. All evacuation orders in San Bernardino County, though, remain in place. Just as people have been forced from their homes, there's a growing concern about livestock, where horses, for example, can be taken, where they can be taken. And the fire has proven to be unpredictable, as you can see in this video from our Rancho Mirage camera earlier today, when a cloud of smoke suddenly burst into the air. Short time later, it settled down. So there you go, the wind's shifting continuously.
All right, so let's get to our live team coverage with Daytona Everett, who's near Pioneer Town, where the fire is headed in that direction. But we're going to begin tonight with Olivia Sandusky in Cherry Valley, where the fire began last Friday. This is where fire crews from across the state have come in as backup, and even they have a backup team from inmates and from our local jails. Olivia Sandusky has the latest. Olivia, good afternoon.
Gino, so many different departments here at the Incident Command Post. As you look around the parking lot, we've seen people from Napa Valley, from Susanville, all the way at the top of Northern California, and they all gather here. They get their assignments, they get to rest, refuel. But just beyond where we're standing, that's where that group is that you mentioned, the inmate firefighters. I did speak to a fire captain today who told me just why they are so important to this process. The Apple fire burns for the 5th day in a row, requiring over 2,000 personnel from all over the state.
Any large fire of this magnitude is beyond the capability of any size fire department. No matter how big you are, you got to call in other resources to come and help you. Because remember, even though this fire is still going on, in Riverside County, we average more than 500 calls a day.
The first responders report to the Incident Command Post between shifts to rest and refuel.
This is where all the brain power happens to fight the fire, and what the management team comes in to do. This is where the firefighters get fed, where they sleep, and how they get paid.
Captain Herrera with CAL FIRE says it's necessary for firefighters to have a designated place to cool off, especially over summer.
Our firefighters are holding up as best as they can, very physically demanding and challenging for them to be out here day after day, working 12-hour shifts or more, being exposed to the hot elements.
And as CAL FIRE crews deal with this large Apple fire, they're relying on the help of over 300 inmates from all across Southern California.
They're trained and they're put together normally in a crew of 15 with a leader, which would be a captain. They're always under the supervision of CDC, corrections, enforcement officer that would always be there to oversee them should there be a problem, obviously. But these crews do a lot of hard work.
The inmates are serving for minor infractions and are constantly monitored. And Captain Herrera says their efforts are essential.
They go along the perimeter of the fire and they start clearing up. Wherever we can't get a dozer, that's the human dozer that comes in and starts clearing up vegetation, making a fire break, 1.5 times the size of the fuel that we're encountering. So they put in a lot of hours, really strong. It is a program where in CAL FIRE's history has been very successful.
Now the Incident Command Posts. The Incident Command Posts are set up intentionally a distance away from where the fire is actually taking place to keep those first responders safe. But you can see the smoke as it kind of heads in the direction of Pioneer Town, and that's where our Daytona Everett spoke to some families who may face evacuations. We'll send it over to Daytona with an update now.
Olivia, Forest Falls, Rimrock, and Pioneer Town are all under an evacuation warning right now. We actually went up to Pioneer Town today and spoke with some of the residents there. They've been through this before. They know how quickly things can change, and a lot of them have livestock.
Just looking at the backyard and just looking out towards where the fire was. And I just snapped a picture.
Ever since Christine took these pictures at her house in Pioneer Town on Saturday, she's been on high alert. 5 horses, 1 donkey, and several dogs. Christine says when it comes to evacuations, time is key.
This is the 3rd time. This is not the first time. So you kind of have to, decide when is the best time to move on.
Pioneer Town was hit hard by the Sawtooth Fire in 2006, a fast-moving blaze that ripped through the area.
In 2006, I think we had 9 minutes to get out.
That memory is keeping everyone in town on edge when it comes to the Apple Fire.
It's scary. That's why I stopped here to try and get some information.
Reed Olson stopped to speak with fire crews who were sent to Pioneer Town specifically to brief residents on the status of the Apple Fire.
We're trying to work with any of the public, answer any questions, and make sure that we have a good contingency plan if the fire does make it here.
With your expertise, do you see the fire reaching this far to Pioneer Town?
We're looking to see some favorable weather conditions in the next couple of days, and with the lake and Sawtooth burn scars, I'm feeling pretty optimistic. If things do ramp up, we'll get additional resources, air tankers, bulldozers, hand crews, and more engines in here. So I think we're in pretty good hands.
Christine still says it's better safe than sorry.
It's just a matter of getting the livestock out.
For now, it's a waiting game in Pioneer Town as the Apple Fire peaks over the mountains. Now, just in the past couple minutes or so, the wind has started to pick up. You can see a little bit of that smoke over San Bernardino County right now. But what I've noticed all day today is the ash that's falling down. You really can't miss it. So again, conditions just change out here. We'll, of course, keep an eye on it here on NBC Palm Springs. Reporting live from San Bernardino County, I'm Daytona Everett.
All right, thank you, Daytona. Now, as that fire moves east, we're able to see flames from right here in the valley. This is from Desert Hot Springs overnight. That part of the fire, mostly just an orange ball of flames, peaking over Mount San Gorgonio. This is why those of you living in Desert Hot Springs and Sky Valley and other North Valley communities are seeing and smelling so much smoke.
Yeah, and here's a brief clip during the Palm Springs today. At about 5 a.m., our Jerry Steffen started one of his weather reports with a look at the fire as seen from our Agua Caliente casino cam in Rancho Mirage. You can see it right there on the top of the mountain. Now, the fire is miles and miles from us right now, but these videos reinforce what firefighters are up against on those front lines. So let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Mike Everett for the latest on how the weather could actually become a problem for firefighters over the next 24 to 48 hours. Mike.
Gino, it's a bit of a dual-edged sword. The good news is it continue to track onshore flow. We were talking about this yesterday. A lot of times when we talk about fires, especially when we think about recent ones, the ones we had up in Idlewild, the Thomas fire, the one we had up in Paradise there last year, that's late in the season, and that's normally when we have offshore flow. Offshore flow is horrible for fires because it's dry, it's hot, and it's normally gusty. Well, we are tracking some onshore flow. In fact, an unseasonable low pressure trough is seeing its way down the west coast here. And what that's going to do for us is keep our air relatively moist. We're not going to be hot. We're not going to be dry. I mean, we've been hot, but we do have some changes coming in that will take those temperatures down and raise that humidity. I want to give you a shot that I got earlier today from one of my associates. This is the smoke from space. And one of the reasons why we're not seeing as much smoke as we've seen recently, remember going into the weekend, we were filled with smoke here in the Coachella Valley. Well, now we've got flow that's literally going from west to east. So it's taking most of that smoke across the San Gorgonio wilderness and out into the open desert. Not great for Joshua Tree, not great for the folks out in 29 Palms. But here in the Coachella Valley, it's been keeping that smoke mostly away from us. In fact, we've seen more high-level cloud cover from this than we have seen low-level cloud cover. And what you're seeing along the coast here is a thick marine layer. It's going to get up to about 3,000 feet again tonight and over the next couple of days because that air is going to cool significantly, and that will push into the Inland Empire during the late hours tonight and actually help keep that air somewhat moist, at least at the base of the fire there. This is the San Gorgonio wilderness, and as that gentleman was just referring to a moment ago, the lake fire back in 2015 burned a significant portion of that area. So it's good-ish news in the sense that a lot of the fuel there is relatively new and already burnt out. So when the fire gets to that perimeter there, that actually acts as a natural fire break. It's something that's working in their favor. Taking a look at radar, we did this yesterday, but I want to do it again today just to give you a little bit of a geography lesson. Here's Cabazon and Whitewater. There's Interstate 10 in Banning, Calimesa, Yucaipa, Oakland. These are some of the communities that you drive through as you're on your way up towards Big Bear. As we zoom that out here and we take a look at that mountainous terrain, that's one of the things we've been hearing from CAL FIRE over and over again that's making it difficult to fight this fire. As you get up into those mountain ranges there, it's extremely sparse, and there is some old fuel there that hasn't burned in a really long time, and it's being burnt right now. So as long as they can continue to manage that fire and keep pushing it off towards the east there, it's working in their favor, and winds will help do that tonight. They're going to gust up to about 30, 40 miles an hour. As I push the magic button, no watches or warnings in place. We don't have any fire watches or warnings in place. We're right on the edge of that. As it gets windy tonight, that will lower the humidity, but again, that onshore flow helps us a lot. A lot of questions about air quality. Well, it really depends on where you are. We've set up a new graph here. Jerry made this morning. Phenomenal job. It's showing that the air quality is actually pretty decent in Indio, despite the fact that it's been gusty there, and you can taste and smell the smoke there. Obviously, out towards Banning and Cabazon, we've got moderate air quality. In Joshua Tree, as I mentioned earlier, not good at all. But as soon as you head out towards 29 Palms, it improves dramatically because that smoke is being dispersed. Speaking of future winds, as we go through the rest of the night tonight, we will see some winds that'll gust up to about 20, 30 miles an hour here, 30 and even 40 miles an hour over there. Calms overnight tonight, but will return again tomorrow. That's what the strongest wind field looks like, and the majority of it will stay in the Banning Pass near Cabazon and Desert Hot Springs. I'll tell you more about that, and I've got some phenomenal news for our local forecast. Details moments away.
Thank you, Mike. An update now on the water fire in Whitewater. It's now 90% contained. The fire broke out Sunday, burning 52 acres. Also today in Palm Desert, a police standoff.
Come out with your hands in the air. We have a search warrant for this resident.
Yeah, this is video recorded by a neighbor across the street from a 5-hour standoff off Driftwood Drive. A SWAT team member tells the person to come out with their hands in the air. That person, 34-year-old Elizabeth Gayton, allegedly had a gun. A robot was brought in to help end the standoff. She's booked into the Banning jail facing a criminal threat and vandalism charge.
New information tonight about the 5 men and 1 woman charged with the death of Jonathan Reynoso and Audrey Moran. All 6 together appeared in court today for the first time. The judge scheduled a felony settlement conference for August 14th. The preliminary hearing will begin on August 24th. You may recall that Jonathan and Audrey went missing back in 2017.
Coronavirus coverage brought to you by East Valley COVID-19 testing site, serving residents of eastern Coachella Valley.
Let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers for Riverside County and the Coachella Valley. 356 new cases reported today in the county, 107 of those from our valley. Only 1 new death in the county today.
Well, it's hard to believe, but tomorrow, thousands of students in Palm Springs Unified School District will go back to class. They're the first district in the valley to start the school year. Our Kitty Alvarado shows us this school year is going to look, well, a little different than years past. Kitty.
Well, the day will start with a Zoom meeting, but there are those familiar elements like recess and reading time. Teachers, parents, and students did seem a little nervous about the virtual classroom, but the passion and preparedness I saw at Cathedral City Elementary tells me the students will thrive. It's the big day before the first day of school for the Palm Springs Unified School District. 6-year-old twins Allison and Jimena Mendez and their mom are in the multi-purpose room picking up their supplies for the 2020-21 school year at Cathedral City Elementary School. Class will be all online this year.
I'm excited.
You're excited? Why?
Because we are going to 4th grade and I like going to 4th grade.
But it's all going to be on the computer. What about that? What is that going to be like?
I don't know.
Truth from the 6-year-old. Many of us don't know what full-time online school will be like for children and parents. Their mom, Martha, has a big job this school year. Parents have to be more involved. She's got the twins plus 2 other children at home.
I'm looking forward to it. It's like a big challenge, I think, for myself and I mean for a lot of parents as well. But we'll see how it works.
Across the campus is 2nd grade teacher Georgina Mendoza's classroom. She knows how it will work. She's been putting it together for weeks. She says the tools may be different, but it's still all about learning.
We're going to find new ways of doing the things that we used to, but I hope that we still provide the same education or even better.
Still, those first day jitters are different this year.
There's that expectation of fear or nervous at the beginning of the school year. This is the most I've had.
Principal Jessica Whiteman says she, her staff, and the school district are doing everything they can to make sure every parent and student feel supported and have everything they need to be successful.
We all can relate and understand how difficult this can be, but we're here to support each other.
Happy back to school.
And not all the teachers will be in the classroom at PSUSD. They do have a choice of teaching from home or going onto a school site. And the Coachella Valley Unified School District starts next week on the 13th and Desert Sands the following week on the 19th. I hope everyone has a wonderful school year. I'm Kitty Alvarado.
All right, thank you, Kitty. A large explosion in Beirut kills dozens of people and injures thousands more. The explosion generated a huge mushroom cloud and a shockwave that blew out windows in buildings miles away. Must-see video coming up.
And we're heading to the nation's capital where the president signs a bill protecting the great outdoors. You're watching NBC Palm Springs. Welcome back as we show you another view of the Apple fire from one of the Southern California Edison webcams. This one actually our Rancho Mirage cam. The Apple fire remains our top story as we enter day 5 of a fire that has burned more than 26,000 acres, 15% contained and still on the move. We'll have a live update from Cherry Valley coming up at 5:25. Now to a look at what's happening around the world, and this fire burning in Beirut, Lebanon after a huge explosion at what was described as a fireworks warehouse. This fire has burned for several hours. You can see in the shadows there the outline of debris from the explosion as well. At least 78 people were killed, nearly 4,000 injured. Now take a look at the actual explosion captured on cell phone video and dash cam video. Unreal. You can see that huge mushroom cloud here, the shockwave of that explosion. It shattered windows out of buildings miles away. Data collected by the USGS shows the explosion was so powerful it actually created seismic waves equivalent of a magnitude 3.3 earthquake. No word yet on what caused the initial blast. Incredible.
And we are still tracking Tropical Storm Isaias. This is an aftermath in Maryland as the storm raked its way across the Atlantic coast. It hit North Carolina pretty hard, and the storm is being blamed for at least 2 deaths so far. Fire broke out at a house on Oak Island, North Carolina because of the tropical storm. Firefighters couldn't reach the house because of the storm's surge. They waded through chest-deep water to try to help. Neighbors watched for hours as the fires grew bigger and bigger and the sky glowed with the red embers. And here's a look at New York City earlier today. No skyscrapers here, just raindrops and a lot of thick fog, but it didn't take long for things to clear up there. And this is the view of New York City after the clouds made their way through and the fog had lifted. Crisp, clear skies and stacked with skyscrapers.
President Trump signs the Great American Outdoors Act, putting billions in funding toward long-deferred maintenance on public lands. The law permanently protects the Land and Water Conservation Fund. It sends $900 million annually to government agencies. The grants can be used for a variety of projects at the local level, including public pools, parks, and fishing access sites. As we head to break, let's head on over to Mike for a quick look. Oh, sorry. We'll get to him in just a second. We come back. They're telling me no. But we're going to leave you with our Walter Clark Highway 111 cam in Rancho Mirage. We'll be right back.
Got it. Welcome back. Well, a rather ominous live look courtesy of our Agua Caliente Casino cam. This one downtown looking off towards the north and northwest. Banning Pass filling with smoke from the Apple Fire. As I was showing you earlier, the predominant upper level winds have been to the west, and that's been a blessing for us. As we take a look from Rancho Mirage right now, you see that a lot of that smoke is right around the northern end of the valley, and then of course up towards the Yucca Valley and out towards 29 Palms as well. We were taking a look at air quality earlier as well. The blessing has been that those upper level winds just taking everything and pushing it immediately off towards the east. Over the weekend, folks, as far away as Phoenix, Arizona, we're seeing smoke from that fire. So it's big, it's pervasive, and it's a very dangerous situation. We'll continue to keep a close eye on that. The great news for us is that the flow continues to be onshore. Very difficult to see, but a trough of low pressure is sagging its way down the west coast as we speak. It's going to drop temperatures for us. It's going to increase relative humidity, but it will be gusty as it does that. We'll take a look at that in a moment. Taking a look across the east coast, it is not the place to be right now. Isaias is now a tropical storm status. It did briefly reach Category 1 hurricane status yesterday, but now sustained winds down to about 52 miles an hour, gusts sitting at about 75, and again, this thing's got some wheels on it. 40 miles an hour to the north-northeast. We'll have it up towards Maine and Boston by 11 p.m. tomorrow. In fact, it's actually going to walk its way up into Canada before it moves off into the Atlantic in about another 36 hours. Here's what the big picture looks like for us, and again, it doesn't look like much, but it's that overall flow that continues to come from the west to the east. It's going to be a blessing for us over the next couple of days, especially in terms of our temperatures and fighting that apple fire. As far as watches and warnings goes, a whole lot of nothing going on. There are still excessive heat warnings in place in Phoenix. Temperatures staying above that 110 mark there. And we do have red flag warnings in parts of Nevada all the way off into parts of Utah and even into Colorado as well. It's gusty along the coast. Meanwhile, winds continue to stay gusty here. They will do that tonight. They'll peak around 30 miles miles an hour in the Banning Pass, possibly 40 out towards Banning, and then calm down later tonight. Winds will be back again on a Wednesday. In fact, we'll see a pretty decent wind field between Cabazon and Desert Hot Springs that'll get up to about 30 miles an hour tomorrow. Temperatures 70s here, 100s inland, 107 in Thousand Palms, 111 in Coachella. But here's the great news. We're going to cool very efficiently tonight. We start in the 70s tomorrow. If you want to get up and out and get something done, it's going to be a great day. 107 to the 30-year average for this time of year. We're going to be right on the money, but it gets even better. Thursday and Friday, we're going to dip down into the low 100s, getting back to 109, 110 this weekend. But the great news, we keep the overnights in the 70s.
Twitter expects to pay millions for allegedly mishandling users' personal information. The Federal Trade Commission accuses Twitter of taking phone numbers and email addresses users provided for security purposes and targeted ads. Twitter admits doing this inadvertently.
Google's getting into the mobile banking business. It's teaming up with 8 U.S.-based banks. Apparently, customers will be able to access checking and savings account through Google Pay. Partner banks will handle the back-end technology. All that more. Hey, so Google's got access to my money now, too. It's great. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. We're looking at the Apple fire, as seen from our Agua Caliente cam in Rancho Mirage. Lots of smoke. Let's head out to Olivia Sandusky in Cherry Valley with the very latest. Olivia.
Sarah, we're at the Incident Command Post here in Beaumont. I wanted to give you an inside look at some of these tents that they've set up to house the personnel, the over 2,000 people that are helping with this fire. Now, this is mainly the California Conservation Corps here. They're in these tents getting some rest, refueling before they continue to help with the fire. They're also aided by over 300 inmates. We spoke to a fire captain today. We'll hear more about why those inmates are so important coming up at 6 o'clock as well. Sarah?
All right, I'll take it. Thank you, Olivia. All right, lots more coming up tonight, 6 o'clock, the very latest in the Apple fire going on in Cherry Valley. We'll also check in live in Pioneer Town as they prepare for a fire that could be headed their way. So lots more coming up tonight, 6. We hope to see you then.